Hello, everyone. This is Steve with New Hydrogen. I'm so excited to have you here with me today. I have a special guest, Dr. Mohamed Sanad Noufal. He's the chair and professor of chemical engineering department at Hampton University in Virginia. He's heavily involved in lots of things related to space with hydrogen and with catalysts. So I'm super excited to have him here. Welcome, Mohamed. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Steve, and nice to meet with you today.
It's glad to have you. And I know this is off topic, but Mohamed is dealing with inclement weather on the East Coast right now, hurricane barreling up through his neighborhood. So all of our thoughts and prayers with you and all the people on the East Coast as this thing kind of works its way north.
Yes, in the east side, yes.
We'll make sure we'll make sure we cut this off at any point so you can get home safely.
Yeah, thank you so much, Steve. Yes.
So let's get started. I think, first of all, let's talk a little bit about your experience working with catalysis or with catalysts. What inspired you to focus in this area? Like, why catalysts? What's your motivation?
So I believe that catalysis is amazing. Controlling reactions at a small level can solve big problems, such as energy. Take the hydrogen evolution reaction as example. Protons in an alkaline medium take one electron from a catalyst and form molecular hydrogen. If we can truly understand this process at a fundamental level, we might be able to solve the energy crisis problem. It is a very interesting topic. Catalysis also plays a critical role in sustainable energy production, conversion, storage, hydrogen production, and fuel cell conversions, which requires the design and the preparation of active, selective, and stable catalysts. And significant progress has been made in the preparation of various nanomaterials as highly active catalysts. A major challenge is the fundamental understanding of the catalytic structure activity relationships from the atomic, molecular, or nanoscale levels of the catalyst under the realistic reaction condition. This understanding depends largely on the ability to probe the reaction surface sites and the interfaces of the catalyst under reaction conditions. Among the various microscopic and spectroscopic techniques, in situ operando measurements have demonstrated the ability for gaining such fundamental understanding. In the past decade, there has been a surge of interest in developing and employing in situ operando electron microscope techniques for atomic scale and nanoscale visualization of the active sites of the catalyst under the heterogeneous reaction conditions that are relevant to clean and sustainable energy reactions. So, in my point of view, all researchers right now and all reports talk about metal organic frameworks, 2D materials like graphene, MXenes, molybdenum sulfide, and they only care about the efficiency of the catalyst. But I actually likes to pay more attention, and I prefer to pay more attention to the reproducibility of the catalyst. So most of reports report only one material for one use, and each one who would like to repeat the experiment and do the work again cannot do it or cannot get the same result. Why? Because it is very complicated synthesis, and you cannot simply reproduce the catalyst again and again. Okay, I really I like to have catalyst with moderate efficiency, but I can prepare it again and again, better than catalyst with very high efficiency, like benchmark efficiency, and you cannot get it again. So this is my perspective for the catalysis, and my research focus right now is to prepare reproducible, pure, unique catalyst for hydrogen and oxygen electrochemical reactions.
So can I ask you a question about that?
Yes, sure.
So you mentioned reproducibility, so the ability to reproduce a catalyst, right? So in production today, there are many catalysts, particularly in the production of hydrogen, that are mass produced, right? So is that a problem you're saying, or why do you think reproducing it is a challenge if we have mass production?
What I mean that the major challenge for the electrolyzers right now is the benchmark electrocatalysts. Like iridium oxide is very expensive. So now we are looking for other catalysts to replace this kind of benchmarks, right?
Yes.
But people report catalyst, which a lot of materials that you cannot reproduce again. You will find very good efficiency for one time, but you cannot get the same catalyst with the same synthesis, with the same characterization one more time or again. You cannot get it. Okay, and this called like durability and stability and reproducibility is the main parameters to make this catalyst can replace benchmarks. As example, metal organic frameworks. People prepare this kind of material, metal organic frameworks. They mix metal oxides with ligands to prepare the metal organic framework with some rational elemental ratio. Okay, but if you repeat the same synthesis in other lab, you will get different elemental ratio. And this variation between the synthesis makes the material not suitable to replace the benchmark. Okay, so
you're looking for materials that can be easily reproduced. You're talking about moving two different things. One is reproducing in a different lab, being able to recreate the same results using something other than iridium, right?
Yes.
And you're talking about scaling up, so moving beyond the lab into full production, being able to also continue this. And then you also mentioned durability as a key factor as well. We need something that's going to be able to last a long time. So you mentioned a bunch of things. Clearly you're passionate about it. But just getting back to that first question, so I got to know, this is like complicated stuff.
Yeah.
Why catalysts? Like, were you just a teenager and you saw something happen and you're like, man, I love catalysts, I got to do that? What inspired you?
But yeah, again, in my answer, in my previous answer, I mentioned that by controlling small structural and morphological changes in the material, you can actually achieve a lot of, you can make big achievements and to solve energy problems. As example, you have the proton can accept one electron from a catalyst and make molecular hydrogen. Molecular hydrogen is a fuel for everything, for the heavy industries, heavy transportation, for the gas, chemical refining, petroleum refining, and for space applications. So this is what inspires me. I can, in the lab, make very small scale reactions that can change the life.
Change the world.
Yes, change the world.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is a great example of way we can do small things and make great things happen.
Yeah.
Excellent example. Thank you. Well, talking about this hydrogen, right? Green hydrogen in particular is fascinating because, as people know, that's hydrogen that's made using renewable sources, which is not the primary method of production today. But why should anybody, we're making progress in this department, we're creating hydrogen, but why would the normal person even care?
Yes, as you heard about the climate change and the greenhouse gases, right? So the current fossil fuel technology that we use as energy source, it produces a lot of CO2 or carbon dioxide emissions that will affect everyone at the end. So the power sector is responsible for a quarter of carbon dioxide emissions in the US, second only after transportation. Electrification is a key to decarbonizing transportation and the industry, with electricity demand expected to grow 30% by 2050, surpassing 5,000 terawatt per hour. Cleaning up the power sector will be crucial for US climate action. And most of the investment today in the energy transition have gone toward solar, wind, energy storage, and electrical vehicles. However, green hydrogen produced from renewable energy is increasingly being discussed as a key in a path to net zero. Hydrogen as a fuel offers great potential to decarbonize various industries and hard-to-abate sectors. In the United States, as example, they take all the research and development community approach to lead science and technology innovations, aiming to reduce the cost of clean hydrogen by 80%, so it can reach $1 per kilogram. Again, this green hydrogen go into many industries. Like hydrogen is a potentially the lowest cost option to significantly reduce emissions in sectors including power, industrial heat, iron and steel, and heavy-duty transportation.
So there's a lot of industries that we don't think about as a common person every day out and about. But if we look around, almost everything we see is touched by hydrogen some way. Transportation, steel, pharmaceuticals, glass, all these heavy industries that are behind the scenes making our lives work the way we want them to. And so finding a sustainable way to create these, to power these industries is critical, because we're working with non-renewable resources. And another thing I think that maybe you alluded to is, it made me think about energy independence, right? And that's
Exactly.
There's many nations in the world now who are dependent on someone else for their energy sources. And
Yes.
with green hydrogen production using renewable sources, wind and solar, we suddenly start to see localized production potentially of green hydrogen. What would that do to the world?
Yes, and this expansion also will also generate new job opportunities for young and experienced energy professionals in wind farms, solar panels, P2X facilities, and sectors including steel making, ship bunkering, and the pipeline development. It is very important to invest in this kind of direction, and I believe that this will solve the energy problem.
That's fantastic. And what do you think then, looking in the short term? It's going to be a little ways out before a lot of the heavy industries, the price needs to get down where it's competitive for these heavy industries to start replacing their current production methods with green hydrogen. But maybe in the next few years, as hydrogen with subsidies gets down to the $2 or $3 mark, what kind of industries would benefit from looking at green hydrogen today?
So the main industries that will get benefit, first, the power and gas building, and maybe industrial heat, like petroleum refining. This is very important. And iron and steel. I just came from Merck as example. Merck is a vaccine company, and they used the typical fossil fuels to produce the electricity to power the whole plant. So I believe this kind of technology, green hydrogen, will save a lot of money. So we can use, companies like Merck can use the same amount of money in different directions, like research and development. So I believe it is very important, and there is high demand for energy, and it seems like fossil fuels cannot cover everything. But I believe this is the most important field of research right now.
I would agree with you. And I wonder, you had alluded to this a little bit earlier about sort of the technical problems that we're facing as we kind of ramp up and get ready for more green hydrogen production. What are the problems? You're an expert in catalysis. What are the problems right now that we're facing? You spoke to it a little bit. Can you speak a little bit more about what the challenges are that we face today?
So the primary challenge for hydrogen production or green hydrogen production is reducing the cost of production technologies to make the resulting hydrogen cost competitive with conventional transportation fuels. Government and industry research and development projects are reducing the cost as well as the environmental impact of the hydrogen production technologies. As example, U.S. Department of Energy launched the Energy Earthshots initiative in June 21 with the hydrogen shot, which seeks to reduce the cost of the clean hydrogen by 80% to $1 per kilogram in 1 decade. So typically there is 4 types of hydrogen right now. The brown hydrogen is produced by breaking down carbon-rich fossil fuels using a process called gasification. And this process is the simplest and the cheapest method using existing technology already. But it is just environmentally unfriendly, so we are not solving really the problem. And every ton of the brown hydrogen produces 10 to 12 tons of carbon dioxide. Clearly, this is counterproductive to the net zero goals of the Department of Energy or US goals. Fossil-based hydrogen costs roughly $1.8 per kilogram. It is really good, but still it is environmentally not friendly. The second one is a gray hydrogen. It's the most commonly deployed for industrial use. It is where natural gas is combined with water through steam reforming, green hydrogen is still relatively dirty, where you have the amount of carbon dioxide to the hydrogen in it, it is 9 to 1. It is very dirty. And the third one is the blue hydrogen, is similar to gray, except the carbon dioxide is captured and stored, where emissions are produced, but in a much lower quantity than in the production of a brown or gray. And the cost of blue hydrogen is $2.4 per kilogram. The last, not the least, green hydrogen, which is produced by electrolysis by splitting the water into hydrogen and oxygen gas. Electrolysis is a very clean and green and sustainable process, renewable technique, which electric current is used to divide the water molecule into oxygen and hydrogen. The hydrogen gas captured and compressed, provided the electrolysis is powered with renewable energy. Green hydrogen is produced with zero carbon emissions. It is the holy grail of the hydrogen fuel, but also the most difficult and expensive to produce because of the cost. And the cost right now is $6 per kilogram. The main cost of these systems, or the water splitting systems, because of the material itself, the benchmark, the catalyst. So we need to replace the catalyst with a cheap material. Again, we can find too many cheap materials. There is graphene, there is metal organic frameworks, covalent organic frameworks, conductive 2D materials. But the most important part to move this technology to the next step is to have stable, reproducible, and pure synthesis for these kind of materials. Not just do the experiment in the lab, report and publish the article, and that's it. No, we need reproducible material that can be prepared in the factories and for throughout applications.
And I like that you're focusing on the ability to make this mass produce is what we need to be able to make this move forward. And I would say also one of the major costs, and actually, if not the major cost in production of hydrogen, is the energy itself. And so innovation will continue to move forward. We're working on that with new hydrogen, using thermodynamic principles to create green hydrogen. But we have to work on both ends of the equation to be able to make this cost go down, make it easily reproducible, mass produced, to the point where it gets down to that $1 per kilogram, as you had mentioned, the Earthshot initiative. And I think the hard work that you're doing and others like you is really helping propel us forward. And so I really appreciate that. And I know we're getting near the end of our time, and we have one more question. I wanted you to talk a little bit about some of your research, but we haven't talked anything about space and rockets and cool stuff like that. And I know you've been involved with that a little bit.
Yeah.
This question is a little random, but like, what does hydrogen have to do with space?
Yeah, actually, we are doing, so this is the reverse process of the hydrogen evolution reaction. So not like green hydrogen production, I will reverse. I will get the hydrogen, the green hydrogen, and I will convert it to protons. And this reaction called hydrogen oxidation reaction. And this is the anodic reaction in the nickel hydrogen batteries that commonly used in the space. So in space, they use this kind of batteries where you have nickel reduction in one electrode side and the hydrogen oxidation in the other side. So if you have enough green hydrogen, that means you will be able to have these batteries working and to produce more electricity in the space and aircraft.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Well, I hope you succeed. I'm an aviation fan myself, so as a retired flight instructor, so everything I hear about aviation or space makes me excited. You have a good job. So final question for you then. Your discovery that you'd mentioned earlier related to bio-inspired catalysts for self-powering biosensing technology. What is this?
Yeah, okay. So I would like to mention something before that to answer this.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So currently my research focus in combining machine learning, DFT calculations. DFT calculation is a type of theoretical calculations and the experimental design to be able to find better way, robotic way to design the catalysts that can replace the benchmarks. So machine learning we can use some kind of data sets based on all the publications for the last 10 years. We are talking about millions of publications millions of materials, and will, by statistical calculations, will be able to predict some features for the materials that we need to prepare. And this can also give some information about reproducibility, stability, and efficiency. And after machine learning predict the material, we send the data to the DFT softwares to predict the theoretical efficiency and theoretical mechanism. After that, if everything is fine based on the theory, we'll be able to design the material based on this. And this combination between all three sectors, machine learning, DFT, and experimental, never happened. So this is kind of new proposal. I'm working on it right now with some collaborators in other universities here in US to design catalysts using robotic synthesis by machine learning, DFT, and experimental design. This is my current research focus.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's so if I'm understanding correctly, because this is deep now, but it sounds to me like you're using all the principle. Basically, you're tapping into the entire history and library of successes and failures and experiments in this field, combining them all together, putting them into a machine that it's kind of like AI that will go through there. It'll find all the best things and create some sort of a proposal based on all the learning that's happened up to this stage. And then you're working on machines to be able to quickly and efficiently reproduce this. So at the end result, that your dream scenario would be, you pump out some kind of a formula or some kind of a structure for a catalyst or production of hydrogen, and then you create, and you've also designed a machine that can do it over and over and over again so that we can mass produce this. Am I right?
Exactly. So it will be all machine, using the machine and robotic synthesis. There is no hand errors, human errors. So you can get the material again using the machine itself. Yes.
Super exciting. Super exciting material.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think we've approached basically everything. If people aren't excited to know who you are and what you're up to, then they must have fallen asleep at this point, because that is super exciting stuff. Exactly. I'm so glad I had a chance to talk with you.
Yeah.
Thanks for making time today. Any parting remarks you wanted to make before we go?
Yeah, for the bio-inspired catalyst, very quick.
Yeah. I apologize. We forgot that.
Yeah. So green hydrogen production, not only for the energy sectors, we can make some kind of microchips. And these microchips are self-powered. Self-powered means what? You don't need any external power source. Let's say you would like to detect glucose. You would like to detect glucose concentration in blood. So we are making two electrode systems, and this two electrode system, one of them will detect the glucose concentration in blood by oxidation reaction, and we then will track some kind of current response coming from the glucose oxidation. And this current response directly proportional to the concentration of glucose in the blood. At the same time, in the other electrode, you need something to motivate this oxidation process. And you need another reaction. This reaction is oxygen reduction reaction. So you are getting oxygen from air and to convert it to water in a 4-electron process. This will power the ship. Okay, so you have microchip that can detect metabolites in the blood. At the same time, it power itself using this kind of electrochemical reactions or the catalysis that we are talking about. And this is what we found out in our bio-inspired catalyst for glucose detection in this self-powered integrated cell. Yeah,
you've invented a chip that can sense glucose or potentially other conditions as well, and it's powered through the HER catalysis, right? Through the oxygen oxidation.
ORR catalyst.
Oh, yeah.
Oxygen reduction reaction.
ORR catalysis.
Yeah.
And I can see why Merck might be very interested in what you're having to say. So that's good.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Yeah. Fantastic. Well, thank you again. It's been such a pleasure speaking with you and learning from you. And I wish all the best for you in your pursuits. And we hope to host you again sometime on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Okay. Have a great day. Safe travels home.
You too. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.